Sports 1140 KHTK. We are joined by Lofa Tatupu, former Pro Bowler, also former All-Pro. He is also a Seahawks podcast host. Lofa, thank you for the time. It is much appreciated. Before we get to all this DK Metcalf stuff, I want to jump into the hot tub time machine with you and ask you, what were your thoughts on the Russell Wilson deal when it went down?
Oh, man. Yeah, that was wild. But, after there was rumblings last year, we went 12-4, won the division, right? And, there was talk that he wasn't quite happy. Then I only expected more chatter to come and probably something to actually follow through this year. So I wasn't too shocked. I know a lot of the Seahawks faithful were, but we'll see how it plays out. I think if he didn't want to be here, which is what it seems like, right? Then you wish him well. You thank him for all the great years, a decade of dominance with him, and then you start to look forward to the future with all the picks. And, John and Pete have been here before, too. I mean, in 2010, before Russell was here, me and Matt left, kind of the same time, same off season. It was time to turn a page, in the book. And they did pretty good, right? I mean, there's five or six more banners got hung up in the stadium, division championships, 2 Super Bowl trips, 1 win. So, I got faith with their experience. They can turn things around fairly quickly here.
Lofa, could Baker Mayfield make sense?
I think he's a pretty good quarterback. I don't know what's going on in Cleveland, but do you see it as a complete upgrade over Drew Lock? I don't know if that's the case. If they're going to put some weapons around Lock, I think you see, and then you don't know what's going to happen in the draft. But there's a $17 million price tag that comes with Baker, and then, should he play well, that's great, but then now it's okay. Well, now we're going to have to give him $100+ million because, he is our guy, and he's coming off an injury, so I just don't know if that makes sense right now.
Lofa Tatupu is with us here on this Thursday. All right, so if it's not Mayfield, do they draft somebody in 3 weeks?
Yeah, and I don't necessarily think it's going to have to be in that first round. You look at Russell Wilson was a third rounder. Now I know he is a once in a lifetime type quarterback that falls to that third round, but it was also the way they built that team was through defense, the Legion of Boom, that secondary, that D line, and that front seven with Bobby and KJ and all those phenomenal athletes. That was what they hung their hat on, man. And then there was on the other side a guy by the name of Marshawn Lynch, who I know Northern Cali's familiar with. He's a beast, man. And so when you have a run game, I'm not going to say Russ didn't have a huge part in that, but when you have a run game in the top, it was a number 1 defense actually from 2012 to 15. It's going to be a little easier to play quarterback, and I think if they can get back to that formula, we can get back to winning really quickly.
Yeah, Niners fans know that formula pretty well with Jimmy G, that run game and that defense. Lofa, when you look at Pete Carroll, John Schneider, there's a lot of talk about this DK Metcalf situation. He could get dealt. I know Pete came out a couple weeks ago and used the word intent again, which was interesting because he used that same word with Russ. But do you think those two guys would deal DK Metcalf?
Again, I mean, you just saw Russ leave. Bobby Wagner, he's no longer here. I think, but that wasn't a trade. But if anybody can be had for the right price, is what I'm saying. And I think that just goes back to their philosophy in doing what's best for the team. And again, if you don't have a quarterback, what good is one of the best receivers, in the game? So if someone would offer, a first, a second, I think, or a first and a third for him. But again, that I would see that probably coming down to we're going to see how the season goes. They don't want to go anywhere. They don't want to let him go. They got Lockett and him, and just they want to play and see how it goes. And if it came down to a trade deadline kind of thing, if we're not, racking up wins by that trade deadline, and another team, a contender, is we're one, phenomenal receiver away from, like Odell Beckham with the Rams. We're one guy away from making, taking the top off of defenses and
right.
Really crushing them with the pass game. I could see a move being made then. I don't think it would happen. I mean, I don't think it would happen. And, I don't know, don't quote me on this, but I don't think it'll happen.
Would you deal him if you were Carroll and Schneider?
what would the compensation be? See, I can't. I
all
don't,
right, let's say it's the
all
right, Lofa. Let's say it's the same deal for that was had for Devontae Adams.
Devontae, what did they get for Devontae Adams?
A first and a second, I believe, right? First and a second.
I might do that. Yeah, I think I would. Because again, you're going to have to pay him, and if you don't have a solution at quarterback, then we were not using him to the his potential. So yeah, I would do that. I could do that.
Last one for you. Lofa Tatupu is with us here. Obviously, former Pro Bowl linebacker, All Pro as well. When you look at the Seahawks right now, and of course, there's still a good amount of time left in this offseason, Lofa, but what are your reasonable expectations for this team at this point? Do you think this could be a tough year? Is this technically a rebuild for them? Where do you see them right now?
I'm optimistic, cautiously optimistic. But, I think right around the range that they were, 7-10, with the high side of being like maybe a 9-8, maybe double digits would be super optimistic. I think we could, pretty much get to where we were. And like a couple of the games last year, if we stuck to the game plan, which was running the ball, we go to the playoffs. And so I think, and I know from playing for Pete that that's where he wants to get back to. So, I anticipate, you saw the way, Rashad Penny finished the season. I think he averaged 130 for each game, the last 5 games. It made things a lot easier, for everybody.
I lied. I want one more question for you. We've got about 30 seconds here. Pete Carroll's 70 years old. How long does he keep doing this for?
Oh, man, that is the question everybody wants to know. That guy's the Benjamin Button of coaches, man. This guy keeps getting younger. I don't know how he does it.
All right, Lofa, thank you. I appreciate it, man. Great stuff. Let's do it again soon.
Absolutely, fellas. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. There goes Lofa Tatupu. Yeah, he is the Benjamin Button. Petey doesn't look 70, not even close.